This episode of Access to the Arts is being made possible through the support of First Bank Richmond, with 8 locations serving Wayne County. First Bank Richmond and you, doing great things together. And by Phillips Drugs. Phillips Drugs is your good neighbor pharmacy with free delivery and Pill Pack 2.0. Phillips Drugs with 3 locations, East Side, West Side, or downtown Richmond, and online at phillipsdrugs.com. Hi, I'm Eric. Welcome to this month's Access to the Arts, where we're going to talk about the arts in Wayne County and some interesting people. We're going to start with a voice that we have not heard on this show before, a very talented young lady by the name of Emma Socey. Emma, thanks for taking some time.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. First met you when you came to do the In Focus program.
Yes.
Last May, you were part of the Richmond speech team that came to perform. Are you still doing speech this year?
I'm not.
Bummer.
Our coach left, and so I had so much already on my plate that I was like, I'm just going to take the season off. But yeah, I miss it so much.
I'm sure you do. It was great to have you as part of that. It was incredibly entertaining, but it's not like you're not doing other things. We're going to start by going back just a little bit. You were this year's winner of the Richmond Symphony Orchestra Young Artist Competition. And I was talking to Monica Coachline and I went, I've been recording this for a number of years. I don't remember a vocalist even performing in it, let alone winning it.
When I first heard about it, my voice teacher and my piano teacher were both like, I don't know about a vocalist doing it. I think I'd heard something about someone doing it years ago, but it's like, I don't know, there always seems to be some sort of prejudice about like, oh, vocalists, you don't have to work that hard, which like, it happens. It certainly happens, but I'm really glad that I got the opportunity to do it and to be like, hey, we can do stuff. We can be fancy schmancy.
How did you pick your piece?
I had actually been looking at it with my voice teacher for regional music competition. And then we found it and we were like, no, let's look into this more. And it was going well enough that we were like, hey, this is a thing, we should submit it. And we did, and it worked out.
Who was it, and what was the name of the piece?
Danielle Steele found it for me, and it's Batti Batti o bel mazzetto by Mozart from Don Giovanni.
Okay, yeah, one I'm listening to all the time in my earphones.
Absolutely.
How long did you work on it?
Oh, overall, probably 3-4 months. I learned the melody and everything towards the end of last school year, and then we picked it up after the summer and really focused it and got everything in order.
What went through your mind when they announced you as the winner?
It was very similar to how it was winning with speech events, that I was just kind of counting down because they announced everyone else, like they said everyone's name, and when they said second, I was like, okay, I assume I'm not in the top 2. And so to hear my name was just, it was really great. And I was just kind of chanting it in my head, wishful thinking. And it worked out, which is great.
Okay, now, advance.
Yes.
One of the things, obviously you won a little money, but you got to perform with the symphony orchestra.
Yeah.
How was that experience?
It was wonderful and crazy to think the age that I'm at getting that opportunity. My teacher, she didn't perform with an orchestra until she was 25, I think. And because I've only sung with piano or with an orchestra in a pit, it was very jarring to hear everything coming from different angles. The first time I sang through it with them, I was offbeat. I couldn't tell like who I was supposed to be listening to, but I figured it out, learned who was playing what entrances, and eventually felt mostly comfortable with it.
Good. You're not doing speech, but you haven't left the stage, as it were.
Yeah.
One of the reasons you're here is you're directing. You're directing the next visionary production for Richmond Civic Theater. Talk to us about what the play is and how you got to be the director of this.
So it's Falling by Deanna Gent. It's a relatively short one-act about a family who has a son with severe autism. And I see it more as a family drama with different circumstances. It's all about learning how to love people that are hard to love, and that extends far beyond the son. The father, very problematic. The daughter just wants to live a normal life, and when the grandmother comes in to the household, she throws everything off balance. So it's really learning how to find what's best for you as an individual and what's best for the family as a whole.
Did you pick this play? Is that why you're directing it? Is this somebody picked this and you went, that sounds interesting, I want to direct? How did that come to be?
So I was on the Visionary Play Reading Committee, and I'd been on that committee the first year, and then this was the third year. They invited me back, and we'd been reading through different scripts, and then not a lot of them were not everyone was agreeing on a particular script. And so when we came around to this one, pretty much everyone loved it. And the way they were going about it was they wanted to assign a director to each script before announcing the season. That way you have a guaranteed director. And so one person had signed up for it, and I had said, hey, if they can't do it, I'm welcome me. And they were like, totally. I was like, okay, great. And so the opportunity came and I took it.
Nice. So are you doing a cameo? Are you in this, or are you just directing it? What's the deal?
I don't think I have that in me to make a cameo quite yet. And since it is a small enough cast, I was like, I think this will be just a nice place to start. And I am doing so much because it is a civic theater. I'm basically just producing in addition to directing. So I'm doing the set design. I have a big influence in costumes. I'm heading props right now. And of course, I'm also building my schedule and gathering all the other people who are helping me out. So it's a lot, but I think it'll help me to appreciate when I don't have to do as much later on.
You talked about having the experience of singing for an orchestra, with an orchestra at your age.
Yeah.
I know, because you were on the show and we talked about, where are you in school?
I'm a junior.
Where do you go from here?
It's a good question. So I still enjoy performing the most, and musical theater is my biggest thing. I'm actually in Into the Woods Junior for stage 1. Right now I'm the baker's wife, and so I think I'm a big fan of liberal arts education, and so my philosophy has always been I want to learn every part, not necessarily inside and out, but I want to be familiar with everything so that I can help out and be more appreciative of the people in productions that I'm involved with. But I think I want to go forward mostly as a performer.
I'm sure we will be seeing a lot of you in the future.
Fingers crossed.
Appreciate you taking the time, and really, really enjoy all that you're doing.
Thank you.
Emma Socey, our guest. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
Hi, I'm Lance Crow, the George and Peggy Rapp Education Director at the Richmond Art Museum, and here's something that you should know about coming up in the future. We have a hands-on multicultural exhibition for children in February and March of next year. It's called Art Is. It's a series of exhibits that we do every year, and this year it will be Art Is Japan. And this is a way for young children, K through 3rd grade is the suggested age for this field trip, to be able to experience a different culture through art. And I suggest that you get involved because this is something that you don't want to miss. It's a great opportunity for young kids and parents, more than welcome to come to learn about a new culture through art.
Having a chance to sit with a friend, an old friend. Yeah, and talk about our artist spotlight. Actually, is on a gentleman who does video work and provides information to the community through that video work. Mark Linderman, how are you, Mark?
I am very good, Eric. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, glad that you're able to do this. Your title with the health department is what?
Officially, it's an environmental health supervisor. So you're here in the environmental division for the health department. I oversee, all the inspections and the going-ons of environmental health for Wayne County.
And people are probably watching this going, okay, what does that have to do with being an artist?
No.
But you started in film.
In film. My whole background's in film production. I got my film production degree from Southern Illinois University. And I actually was looking to get out into Hollywood as soon as I graduated, and taking a Hoosier stationed in Indiana, sending out resumes to Hollywood didn't fare so well for me. So after about 100 of those, I kind of sucked it up and realized that wasn't going to happen. So actually I taught video and TV production at Centerville High School for 2 years. Okay. Went to seminary for a year, and a job here at the health department opened up. And it was for a health inspector, but primarily they wanted to increase their media program here. Mm-hmm. And so with my background in production, it was just a natural fit. And then the other stuff I learned, with health inspections, but we took a smaller TV program that the health department produced and turned it into a 15-time national award-winning program, and it's been nominated for 2 regional Emmys.
How do you feel about taking your art and using it really to inform and educate the community?
When I got out of film school, I wanted to do narrative film. So I wanted to tell a story. Since I've been here, my preferences have actually changed to more of a documentary information style. I love informing people of different things, especially as my passions toward public health have grown. Mm-hmm. I like to take that passion and my skills with production and marry them into one product. And so my preference now is to educate people the nuances of public health and what we do here.
You're educating not only the community, but you're educating students. You
Correct.
have become an adjunct professor, multiple colleges around. Where are you teaching this semester? Where have you been teaching this semester?
I have been teaching at Purdue Polytech here in Richmond, which is a great organization, and they are fantastic as far as their computer graphics department. So I teach a handful of classes there: digital photography, video editing, Adobe Photoshop, or just graphic design in general. I teach at IUPUI. I teach a handful of bioterrorism courses for them. Arkansas State, teaching the same thing. As far as communication, I teach at Ashland University at Crown College, and I teach crisis and emergency risk communication. And that just entails how do we as an agency, or how do other government agencies reach out to people during times of disaster, and how do we communicate to them? And to kind of use as a platform, I teach the same class for the CDC, Center for Disease Control Prevention, mm-hmm. and also as a consultant for a firm in Indianapolis called Vantage Point Consulting. So communication for me is not just an essential thing for what we do here at the health department, it's essential for a platform for anything that we do as far as disaster communication, crisis communication. It really is the glue that holds a lot of things together.
The visual medium is important for being able to hold people's attention and get a lot of information in a short period of time.
Correct. And to be able to formulate that in a way that's easily attainable and easily understandable by your audience is the basis of why I teach. Again, I have this passion for public health, but I also have a very huge passion for disaster preparedness and also communication. So teaching these subjects to people is a great way for me to marry all those passions and interests into one, like I said, product to give to people.
We do on WCTV, on Friday nights, we do a thing called From the Vault. Some of your early public service announcements, I think people would enjoy seeing. You had a chance to work with Charlie Matthews, who, for people that have been around the arts, particularly the theater around here, really remember Charlie very well. How was it working with him on a number of those PSAs?
You know, being a one-man show, you usually don't get to work with too many professionals, and Charlie was a professional. Even though he was very ingrained in this community as a teacher, he still had this very professional approach. And Charlie and I became very close friends by the time he had passed away. And so I was really kind of awestruck. You know, he had the autobiography or the biography written about him, and he actually took a page or two to mention his work with the health department back then and his relationship with me. So Charlie and I became very close friends by the time he passed away, and working with him was a hoot because, for one, it's good to have that professional structure, but for two, he was just a fun guy to work with all the time. He would do anything. We were working a commercial in Hagerstown one time, and it was 95 degrees out. Here's this 80-some-year-old man running down the sidewalk after I asked him, flailing his jacket around. I thought, if he doesn't kill over, I'm going to be surprised. If he does, I'm going to be out of a job for killing some guy on my set. But he would do anything, and he was just a wonderful individual to work with.
I appreciate you taking some time, one, to inform the community with what you do, and for spending some time with us here on Access to the Arts.
It's my pleasure, Eric. Thank you.
Welcome back to Access to the Arts on WETV Channel 20. All right, we're going to do this kind of as an improv. Where are we?
We are at the Dudas Inspiration Venue for the Arts, or DIVA.
We were here previously when, before things really kind of got started. Right. What's changed since the last time we were here?
Oh, boy. Well, we have started our Department of Improv performances. So those are on the first Fridays of every month. We do a 7 o'clock show that filters on, and a 9 o'clock show where the filters are off. So we've done that for 3 months now. We've had 3 months of performances. 5 out of 6 performances have sold out.
Nice.
Crowds have been incredibly enthusiastic and supportive. They've really loved it. So it's been a lot of fun.
You have a celebrity performer with most of those. Who have you had in?
Well, we had the mayor. So Mayor Snow was our first celebrity guest.
That should have been easy for him.
He did a really good job, and Rick Duncan actually joined him. So we had a little reunification of the dream team there. So the two of them did a fantastic job. We had Amanda Marquis, who's the executive director of the Leland Legacy. She came and joined us in November and did a fantastic job as well.
Cool.
And then just recently in December, Ray Ontko with Docs Pop was our celebrity guest performer, and he committed 100%.
Those are some interesting pants you have in the window.
They are on sale online.
Okay. Can't tell you for how much, but go. You can also, for people who haven't seen the performances that are here, those are available online too, aren't they?
You can see some of the performances. We do share clips on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel, so you can look us up there.
Okay. We'll put that on the screen just so that you know. Oh, and we should probably tell people who you are. I didn't do that.
Oh, I'm Amy Noe Dudas.
Listen, come down and check this out. This is really good. Now, this venue is actually available for other people to use, correct?
It is. The primary mission of the space is for non-party artists to use it to produce or perform any kind of art they want to.
Okay. Your next show is going to be early January.
January 4th.
Let's give a little plug to who your special guest is going to be.
Our special guest is Stacia Veramali Hodges. So she has already started playing with us, and she's doing a great job.
If anybody wants to be in the improv, are you still bringing people into the troupe?
We aren't right now.
Okay.
We're kind of working on the team readiness of the troupe that we have, but do look for workshops in the coming year. We do plan to offer some improvisation workshops for anybody that wants to come, and that might be an opportunity for us to scope out some new talent.
Come down. That's right. Come down and check out your inner diva. Thanks for spending some time with us.
Thanks so much, Eric.
Welcome back to Access to the Arts. Last month we had a chance to talk with Allison Zeidel about some of the events taking place at this year's Meltdown, but now we have the man who, you really kind of brought this idea to the community to do this.
I'm the guilty party. Yes.
Phil Thistlethwaite's with us. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing quite well. This is the time. You're geared up.
Yep.
I'm seeing on Twitter things that are going on. The Meltdown is out there now.
It is, and it's become a really big event for the community, and we're just really pleased at how this thing has grown and the response the community's had to it, and it's getting to be one of the bigger ones around the country. So we're really proud of that.
Nice. What was the idea that made you bring this here to begin with?
Well, when I came to work for the city, my son and I had started a couple of them in southern Michigan and in some smaller towns, and saw what it did to the community in the middle of January. And it was just like, just nuts, especially in Michigan, right off Lake Michigan. You got snow up to your ears, and so it's like, what can you do to bring people out and help the businesses in these little towns a little bit? And so these ice festivals were very, very popular, and it brought a lot of people, and thought, well, this will work anywhere. And so when I came to Richmond, we kind of did the same thing. And some people bought into it, Mary Jo Clark and some other people, and we were able to convince people that this is what we ought to try here, and it's been very successful.
The carvers that you bring in, first of all, the background on them I found interesting, because people are going, okay, really, you go to school to learn how to carve?
That's right.
In a way, they do.
Yeah.
It's part of their training. Talk about that.
All these guys come out of the culinary arts someplace. They're all, pretty much all of them are executive chefs. They have been executive chefs someplace.
That's got to be driving some of the restaurants around here
Oh, it
crazy.
does. We do a couple of them, and they're not afraid to ask the server questions, and they really get them going and running in circles, because they'll ask some of the craziest things. But they've all been in the culinary industry for a long time, and they're all very artistic. So they've all kind of were attracted to this thing of carving ice, and so some of them still are in the culinary business. Most of them now have gone on to where that's all they do for a living is carve ice in some of the bigger cities. Yeah, in fact, all but one of them, that's their main job.
Wow. So. We've got Dean back, who has been with us
Dean
from the
Damaris
beginning.
has been here from the beginning, and he's from Fate, Texas, outside of Dallas.
You can't carve ice in Texas. There's no ice in Texas.
There's a lot of ice in Texas, and my son's down there. He moved to Texas just to carve ice, and he's down in San Antonio. And so you'd think everybody looks at you like you're crazy. You said, well, he's an ice carver in San Antonio. And, but it's a major tourist city, a lot of conferences there, so there's a lot of work in some of the bigger cities where they have lots of conferences and a lot of tourism.
Who else is coming back this year?
Okay, we've got Eric Kendall from Argenta, Illinois. Eric is a gold medal winner in the Cultural Olympics that always precede the Winter Olympics, and he won a bronze and a gold in I think it was Torino, France, and in Vancouver. So that's a big deal. And then we've got Edwin Hutchison, who's from another warm climate. He's from Greenville, South Carolina. And then I said, like my son Andrew, he's from San Antonio. Then we've got one cold weather person, that's Danny Bloss, and he's coming from up in Niles, Michigan.
Andrew always does a great job with the kids when he has a chance to work with them, particularly at Morrison Reeves Library.
Right.
But whenever he has a chance to work with them, he does a great job.
He loves being with, he's just a big kid, and anyway, so he loves going down there and interacting with all those guys, and the kids just love him. He gets them involved, and he has a good time with that. He really does.
They've talked about that this has become a place where they maybe work out some of the bigger pieces that they're going to take to other championships.
Yeah, they've worked on a couple times. They've done that. Worked on some parts that mainly when they go the World Championships. There wasn't any last year, but next year they're going to be back in Fairbanks, Alaska again, and a couple of guys are on their way up there. Right. In fact, Dean's flying to Alaska from Richmond to go up to work on some of that up there, and we're lucky because those two guys, Dean and Edwin's wife, Leanne, are both on the board for Ice Alaska, which is the World Championships, which brings in carvers from every country in the world. And all these guys have, all but one have all competed there and finished no worse than third in the World Championship. So we've got pretty good carvers that come here.
How is it having a stationary venue? First couple of years, things moved around you in the Depot
Right.
District, your various places. Now you know you're going to be in Elstro Plaza. You've got that stage.
Yep.
How is that for the carvers?
It's fantastic. You know, it's Elstro Plaza. Of course, I am a little partial. I had a little bit of input into that.
Just a little.
A little bit. But they love it down there. It gives us plenty of places to work. You know, we close that little street off. And then everything's right there. And although we do stuff out and about, we go down to the Leland, to the library, and up and down Main Street and Fort Wayne Avenue. And so it works to our advantage live. It's a wonder. It's just a fantastic place to have this whole thing.
Any secrets you can tell us that people should be looking forward to this year?
Yeah, we like to. One of the things is we're going to do a little bit of different thing on Friday night, and still in the planning stage. These guys don't. I mean, nothing's ever fully planned until they actually turn on the chainsaws. But we'll see, because our presenting sponsors this year are Reed Health and the City of Richmond. And we're really happy to have them be our presenting sponsors this year. So there's some stuff there we may have to involve them.
All right.
Yeah.
Always looking forward to it. Thanks for spending some time with us.
Thank you.
What didn't I ask? What do people need to know? I'm trying to get you to tell us a little bit more.
Really, I don't know, because I'm the last person they tell, because they
Oh,
know
okay.
that I tell everybody.
Because they know we're going to bring you in here and we're going
Exactly.
to.
Yeah,
All
get it
right.
out. But yeah, we always try to do something a little bit different every year. And what that is usually get sketched out on the plane on the way here.
Okay.
And so that's what we're looking forward to.
We'll just have to find a way to get a camera on the plane to figure it out.
We'll like to see that.
Bill, appreciate the time. Looking forward to a really great festival.
Eric, I thank you a lot, and looking forward to it too.
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks for watching this episode of Access to the Arts. I want to thank all of our guests for being part of this show. Going to leave you with some thoughts of what you can do as you access the arts in Wayne County this month. See you next time. This episode of Access to the Arts has been made possible through the support of First Bank Richmond, with 8 locations serving Wayne County. First Bank Richmond and you, doing great things together. And by Phillips Drugs. Phillips Drugs is your good neighbor pharmacy, with free delivery and Pill Pack 2.0. Phillips Drugs, with 3 locations, East Side, West Side, or downtown Richmond, and online at phillipsdrugs.com.